Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I want to take a quick minute and go through a tour of my new website. So I just put it up a few minutes ago. It's actually live now, thankfully. Took a weird turn when I was trying to create something for it, but just like trying to get the DNS and everything set up, it was doing something funky for me. But whatever, it's working now. It's good to go. So now what I want to do is kind of just show it off a little bit, go through some of the decidedly low-tech stuff I did with it. So yeah, let's actually do this real quick and take a look at the live site right now. Now if I go back here, go there, and let's turn it on over to the picture-in-picture. So there we go. All right, so this is what's live at this exact moment in time. Now I'm going to change this shortly because I don't want both of these this video and this picture on here for everybody to see, but for right now it's okay. What I'm trying to just showcase here is that I have the ability to put both video and images on the site. Now the site itself is pretty mundane. There's really not a whole lot going on here, and that's kind of the way I like it. That's kind of I wanted to build a really low-tech website essentially. I didn't want it to have too many bells and whistles, just enough to kind of get the job done for me. So let's start off at the beginning sizes, which is where I started building this thing, which is as a responsive mobile first website. So if I go there and I shrink it on down, 350 is where is my max, or is my min, I should say. So this is what my website looks like when you come to it on a teeny tiny device. Most people don't even have devices this small anymore, but this is just a good size to kind of like start things out at. Here, if I go to like iOS 11 and this is an iPhone 6, 7, 8 size. This is the size. This is what you'd probably see, something like this. Yeah, I mean, I built this whole thing as a fully responsive mobile first site. So I like to build mobile first. This is kind of even when I teach my students. And if you are one of my students, or you're going to be one of my students in the very near future, you'll be seeing some stuff similar to this in class pretty soon. So yeah, this is the responsive view of the site. Obviously we can make it larger, and it grows and it works, and you see the image behind there growing too. You see also the video is fully responsive, text is obviously, and the navigation on the right hand side here also moves around correctly too. So one thing I like to I want to call out here is my sidebar. So when I click it, you see it opens up. There's only one page right now. Now the reason for there being only one page is because of how I'm going to kind of be building this. I really only want one page, one bit of text at a time essentially on the page, or one set of content per homepage. Like I'm not going to have a list of, how a lot of homepages or a lot of websites that it's just basically like content piece one, like a feed. I don't want to do a feed. It's going to be, you come to the web page, you come to my joesanfilone.co domain, and that's my latest bit of information. If you want to then see other stuff that used to be the latest, the old stuff, it's all going to be down here as a link. So today I only have one thing, home latest. So that's what's here. In the future, as I have more stuff, it'll just go all down here, being the title or whatever that it is, and obviously all my social stuff down here too. Now, the thing about this, obviously it's blank right now, and it'll eventually be a little bit of a scrollable thingy. So this is the screen size or this is 350 pixels. And as we get a little bit bigger, you see that this now becomes just kind of like a overgrown sidebar. It's now 50% of the page. It might be a little bit hard to tell, but it definitely is 50% of the viewport width. And then when it gets a little bit bigger to 900 pixels, watch, it's gonna flip. Boop, there we go. So 900 pixels, we bring this guy to the top. And at 1100 pixels, it drops down to 30%. So essentially what I'm trying to do here is as we shrink the page, it's taking over 100% of the screen. As the screen gets a little bit bigger, we have a little bit more real estate. I don't want this thing to kind of just take over, so I only let it take 50% of the page. Then we get to an even bigger size screen. Now, I think anything past 1100, 50% of the screen, it just starts spreading stuff out too much. So we don't do it. I drop it down to 30%, and this is where it stays for ever. in terms of screen size. Now, there is something here. Now, if you saw that flip around, I'm doing that with grids. So this is all CSS grids that's handling all of these flippings of things around, and it works out really well. Actually, it was surprisingly easy to do with a grid to kind of flip all of this stuff around. I'll have a video one day that shows what this whole thing, how this works and how I do it. But the one comment I can see a lot of people making here, or a lot of concern about, is the fact that I go from navigation on the bottom, the hamburger nav button on the bottom, to all of a sudden it being on the top. Now, it keeps the same side, but a lot of people will say that seems to be kind of a no-no. There's a UX issue with that. When we build things, when we're building websites, and it's something that I've even told other designers and other developers and students, you want to build something very predictable. You don't want your users to have to think about, I even think this might have been in the book by Stephen Krug, Don't Make Me Think. You don't want the user to not know where everything is. So you want to make things predictable. And part of that being predictable is that you don't want to change things on people. So imagine you go to a website and the navigation is on the left. Then you click a button and you go into another page and the navigation is on the right. Then you click on another button and the navigation is on the top. And you click another button and the navigation is on the bottom somewhere. And clicking everywhere, you don't necessarily understand where everything is. Every time you go to another page, you get kind of discombobulated about where you are. It's the same site, but everything is different. And even if it's only that one thing, the nav that's moving, it feels like everything else is different. So it becomes an issue. So I always tell developers and designers, don't move the navigation. Like, okay, fine, close it if you want. Like if you're trying to do something on a small screen, you want to close it and hide it, but don't move it. Keep it where it is, just hide it, and then you can show it again. That's fine. But moving it is a bad thing. That's not gonna work out well for you at the end of the day. So how do I kind of line up these two items, right? I say don't move the nav, and then here you go, moving the nav. Now it's on the bottom, and now it's on the top, bottom top. Well, yeah, I know this isn't a do as I say, not as I do moment. The idea here, my thinking on this, and I'm open to being wrong on this, but my thinking here so far is that, like, look, this button, okay, when you're on this size screen, let me start here. This button doesn't move. Open, go. I could have 1,000 links and you can be just going through all 1,000 pages of it. The button never moves. The button is always going to be there. So as long as you're on this size screen, the button never moves. Same thing here. If I go, this isn't, the button's not moving. If I go to a larger device, this is like an iPad kind of flipped on its side now, the button stays there and it's not going to move anywhere. So the way I'm thinking about it is that the consistency lies in the size of the screen you're at the moment in time. Now, this would be weird if you're a person who is flipping between multiple devices. Sure. So if you're on an iPhone at one point and then you jump over to your iPad, that might be a little discombobulating, but it shouldn't be too bad because it's not like I'm moving the entire sidebar based on the device. It's just I'm moving the placement of the button. And I believe that the movement and placement of the button actually makes better sense up here once you start getting into larger screen sizes. Let me walk you through that. When we're on this size screen, where's your hand? Well, unless you have some sort of mental ability to kind of, not hold your phone with your hands, you can just hold it up with your mind, chances are your hand is kind of wrapped around your phone. If your hand is wrapped around your phone like mine, I usually hold my phone kind of in my right hand. My thumb can easily get to the bottom right hand side of this. It can actually get pretty easily to the bottom left hand side. Either way is fine. Just kind of where I place my hand, getting to anything on the bottom of the phone, totally easy to do. Now, if I were to use an iPad or even my phone flipped into landscape mode, where's my thumb? Well, chances are, again, I'm still holding this with my right hand, and my thumb can easily get between the top right corner and the bottom right corner really easily. So I kind of feel like the vast majority of people, if they were, even if this is a large device and they're holding it in both of their hands, their thumb is going to be it's going to be easy for them to get to this thing up here. So again, as long as if they keep it in this motion, if they keep it in this view, in more of like a landscape view, they're going to be fine getting to that button. If they move their phone even to the portrait mode, it might be discombobulating for a second, but the button is still right there. It's going to be easy for them to get to. So it's going to work better for them. And then it just kind of stays there in that corner as it gets bigger. And by the time we get to we start getting into like really large screens here, I think this just works in the top right corner. In my head, again, I think about navigation, and navigation on websites, like on a desktop website, you're kind of usually putting these things on either the top left, top right, somewhere like that, where it's just kind of, it all exists. So I'm just not moving it, I'm just leaving it there. Part of me said maybe when it gets to a certain screen size, I should keep it open, but I don't want to do that. I like closing it. I like keeping it this way. So that's what I did. It stays closed and it stays there. Again, I think the consistency at this point is just internal to the size that the screen is on. And I think in my head, that feels okay. It feels like I'm still being consistent with the whole don't move everything around mantra, because it's not moving, it's staying right there. It only moves if you're like me and a developer and you're doing this to your screen all day. So as long as you're not one of these people who do this, you're probably going to be fine, and you're probably not even going to notice. I would bet that if I took several users after a couple of months, I would bet that there was going to be a cohort of people who never even knew that button changed, because they only ever viewed the site one way. So either they're only viewing it on their desktop, or they're only viewing it on a mobile device, and they never even notice that the button moves. That's what my gut tells me is going to happen. However, I have no idea. So we're going to kind of experiment and see what happens. If all of a sudden I start getting, hundreds of people saying I'm an idiot and this is terrible, all right, then I guess then I'll change it. But until that happens, I'm going to kind of leave it and see what happens and see how it goes. But, I think this is right. I think this is going to work, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So, yeah. So I think that's it for this video right now. I think we're just going to close it out here, say my new site's up. It's finally done. Thank God. I'll probably do another video real quick about maybe for tomorrow or the next day, just a little bit about the guts of the site and how it works. It's not really, again, it's not a special thing. It's just kind of a Laravel site with a couple markdown stuffs in it to make it work. But that's it. So, all right, guys, have a great day.